I got an email from one of our listeners that listens on the Sports Hub in Boston who said, Ben, all the local guys are convinced this is going to be at most a gentleman's sweep. 4 games should be all the Celtics need to take care of the Knicks, and they're already projecting who they're going to play in the NBA Finals. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm sleeping during the day. I don't know what those guys are yapping about. But one game into the Eastern Conference semifinals, and things have gone upside down, topsy-turvy. Jalen Brunson leading the upstart Knickerbockers, playing with house money, into the Commonwealth for a hoedown with Jason Tatum and the heavily favored Celtics. Were you watching? Were you watching this game? No, of course you were. No? Well, Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby, may the force be with you. They each scored 29 points in this game, and the Knicks leaving the Celtics dazed and confused as they win it in overtime. New York 108, Boston 105. So game 1 goes to the team from the Big Apple. Karl Anthony Towns, who was okay. He had 14 points, 13 rebounds. It wasn't a dominating performance by any means. But the Knicks had lost all 4 games against Boston during the regular season, which, again, that is what has happened, not as what's going to happen. Right? So they lost all 4 games during the regular season, and that's why they play the games. But New York was down by 20 points in the second half of this game. The Boston Celtics, the reigning champions of the NBA, coughed up a fur ball, a big one. Now, game 2 will be back on the parquet floor. That'll be on Wednesday night. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both had 23 points for the Celtics, who take it on the chin in game number 1. The better story is in that locker room. That is the losing locker room, so that is where we will direct our attention to. The question for the esteemed panel here: who's the fall guy? Who's the fall guy for the Jason Tatum Celtics? So I've got Air Force, in and out, and robust DNA. And we will combine all of these things together, and we're going to make Boston cream pie, which is what the Celtics got a face full. Boston cream pie is what they got. All right, so number one. I said number one. Right. There's a lot of shame and blame to go around. We like to shame and blame. It's fun to do here. So Boston was up 75-55 with less than 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Now, the game's not over at that point. Obviously, it's not over. You still got a quarter and a half to go. With the final 17, 18 minutes of the game or so, if you just merely take care of your business and don't have any major screw-ups, you're going to win the game. And as the late, great Dennis Green, who worked at Fox Sports Radio for about a month before he got a TV job, said, if you want to crown them, then crown their asses. But they are who we thought they were. And the Celtics let them off the hook. And that's what happened. Now, the issue for Boston in this game, down the final 18 minutes or so of the game, it is a King of Pop classic, the man in the mirror. That is what did in the Celtics in this game. The man in the mirror, Jason Tatum. And much of the same conversation we had in a previous hour, we were talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his shortcomings at the end of the game. Well, the same concept applies here. It's not brain surgery. We're just merely talking about sport. But you look at it, Jason Tatum is supposed to be the franchise player. Close game, right? Now, it wasn't even a close game. It should not have been a close game, but it did turn out to be a close game. And the reason is because the way that you close the game, Jason Tatum, who to my knowledge has no military experience, but he looked like he was in the Air Force, and he was a pilot flying the Vomit Comet to close out the game. How bad was it? I'll tell you. So Jason Tatum, the eyeball test, you knew it wasn't good. But then to close the game, Jason Tatum, over the final 20 minutes, including overtime, Jason Tatum shot 3 of 12 from the floor. He took 12 shots. He only made 3 of them. And we're sitting in here where he's supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about a crap performance by Jason Tatum. The 3-headed monster of the Boston basketball team turned out to be a 3-headed garden slug in this particular game. You had Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White, who has been marvelous. But in the end of the game, up 20 to losing in overtime, Tatum, Brown, and White combined to shoot 20%, 20.8% from the floor in that stretch. And that's how you blow a 20-point lead. And the Celtics, as a team, the number that stood out here, the 45 missed three-point shots, which is an appalling amount of missed three-point shots. But the Celtics, just in the time they went up 20 to the close of the game, they attempted 28 three-point shots in that stretch. They only made 6 of them from downtown. So that is the ingredient that will lead you to defeat. So Jason Tatum's got to wear that. Now, page 2. And this is a deeper philosophical look at things here. So where is the Celtics panic level? Where is the Celtics panic level after dropping game 1? Is this a mild concern for the Boston basketball team or a full-blown crisis? Full-blown crisis. So after a thorough MALLER deliberation and contemplation about the New York Knickerbockers, we have this as a mild concern. As a mild concern. It is a wake-up call that you should not have needed. You should not have needed a wake-up call in game 1 of a series. And the question must be asked, did the Celtics underestimate the Knicks? Did they start buying into all the social media chatter that this would be no series, this would be no contest? What is that? You're up 20 and you take a little siesta at that particular point. Now, Joe Mazzulla, a couple years ago, we nicknamed him Let Him Play Joe. Let him play Joe. And in this particular game, Joe Mazzulla, did he make any adjustments? Maybe he did. I just didn't notice it. Did you notice anything that he did? Things were not going right for the Celtics? Did he ever say, hey, maybe we shouldn't shoot three-point shots every effing time down the court? Did he ever say that? Let him play Joe. I didn't notice any adjustment. I'm not a big coaching matter guy. The Denver Nuggets don't have a coach, and they just won a game on the road in the second round of the NBA playoffs. But the reason I am only at a mild concern, and trust me, you know, doing talk radio, it'd be much more fun. Full-blown 5-alarm fire for the Celtics. And we will be DEFCON 1 if Boston loses on Wednesday. But game 1, we're not going to go there. Not yet, because Madison Square Garden's not tough. A bunch of teams go in there and win. It's not like the Knicks have any real home court advantage at Madison Square Garden. So you lose the next game, and again, that's a different conversation. But every extra game the Celtics play, the chances of injury go up. The chances of Heartbreak Hotel go up even more. And then the other question that must be asked is, do the Celtics get a pass? Do they get a mulligan because the Unicorn hardly played? And if you saw the game, you know what I'm talking about here. So that would be as the great judge on a reality TV show, Randy Jackson, back in the day said, that would be a no for me, dog. No. Kristaps Porzingis played only 13 minutes. He did not get into the game after halftime because he had an illness. He had the creeping crud or whatever he had. We don't know. He was out. So here's the issue. Boston, even though they didn't have the top record in the East, they are perceived to be the top team. Is that a fair statement? I believe it is. Cleveland had the top record, but most pundits believe that the Celtics are the better team. So you go into this, you're supposed to be the big, bad beast of the East, and you're the Boston Celtics, and you think of this like In-N-Out Burger. Now, I know there's no In-N-Out Burger in Boston, but just work with me on this. So they have the secret menu at In-N-Out Burger. And very popular, animal-style fries, very popular. People love that. Some people like that Flying Dutchman. But those are all extra items. You don't need those things to be good, to have a good meal. You don't need those things to have a good meal. You don't. And so it's good enough, and the Celtics are good enough without Porzingis. And if Porzingis is the key player, come on. Now, the Celtics took so many three-point shots. They always do. The difference is they were able to win a game. Remember the Orlando game in the opening round? They won a game, the Celtics, and they didn't play very well. They did not do well from three-point range, but they won that game. There's plenty of the Orlando Magic. So, Knicks are a better team, obviously, than Orlando, but still. All right, now, final point. So, question. Is this Knickerbocker team for real? Should we revisit the analysis leading into this series? Are they for real? Or was this just a case where they fell behind by 20 New York, and then they caught Boston just kind of lollygagging around, having an off end of the game? They just thought the game was over. They assumed the Knicks would give up. That's what NBA teams do, like the Clippers and other teams. When they fall behind, they just quit. They're a bunch of gutless quitters. So that's the question. So the arrow on this one is pointing more towards just lollygagging. Up 20, lollygagging around. Again, until we see this happen a second consecutive game. And the heavy underdog, the Knicks are playing with house money, absolute house money. Now, that being said, if the game is close, if the Celtics do not have a comfortable advantage in these games, and it's coming down the stretch, who would you rather have in a 3 or 4 point game in the final 90 seconds? I'd rather have the Knicks, but mainly because of one guy, right? Mainly because of one guy, and that's the interesting thing here. That one guy who, you know who I'm talking about here, has robust DNA. He was not the reason that the Knicks won this game in overtime. We're talking about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, who clearly has the optimal genetic makeup for big moments in basketball games, but he didn't score in overtime. He was 0 for 4 from the floor in overtime, missed a teardrop that should have won the game in regulation, and it still didn't matter. So he got a dud out of the way, Jalen Brunson, down 20. The New York Knicks, and the reason they got back in the game was in part because of Brunson down 20. They cranked on the old Phil Collins tune there, Thunder and Lightning, because you had not only Jalen Brunson during the regulation part, but OG Anunoby getting it done in a large way. Anunoby, he had the clutch gene on this night. Big time. 7 of 11. From down 20, he made 7 of 11 shots, and 4 of 6 from 3-point range, and including a big overtime as well. I mean, it was just his night to dominate the Celtics, who struggled to make the 3-point shot throughout the game. And so listen, the Celtics all of a sudden don't turn to garbage, right? This is not a garbage situation. They just don't regularly perform close games. Most of the games are lopsided for the Celtics. So, and the problem with Jason Tatum, as great as Jason Tatum has been, he doesn't have that dog in him. I need dogs, not cats. I need dogs. Doesn't have it. Haven't seen it. You trust Jaylen Brown more than you would trust Jason Tatum. And that's the real kick to the nuts for the Celtics. So they're down 3 at the end of the game. You saw what happened. You're watching or you're listening to it. They're down 3. The Celtics have the ball, a chance to take a 3-point shot to tie the game. Jaylen Brown, who normally is the guy you want with the ball in your hand at the end of the game, he couldn't even get a shot off because Mikal Bridges came over and ripped the ball out of his hands. He stole the ball. There was robbery on the court. So the Celtics didn't even get a game-tying shot up in overtime. You're talking about a emasculation situation.